All right, good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. Welcome to another session of our CEJA office hours. Just a couple updates to note first. There was a previous issue, and we're going to be going over this in the second half of the system, but under this partner engagement and management section, on the outreach tab, there's an export to pull, the outreach events and information that's been entered. And previously, there was a bug where if you click the export, it would download Excel, but no rows, but the data wasn't pulling through. But that has since been corrected. And I think the only other update, just to note, is that we did add. Let's see, I don't just want to double check here. We added a part. We did make an update to eligibility requiring a customer reside in Illinois in order to be eligible. Let me just enter this in here. I can show you where that is and what that looks like. Okay, let me zoom in here too. Far back. Here. Our questions here. Okay, so it looks like it's on the application is where we have that update. So let me just get there real quickly. Okay, and that question. Oh, hang on, I might actually be getting this mixed up here. Bear with me one moment. Oh, yep, I went too far. I was thinking of a different update, a question that we did add. Are you authorized to work in the U.S.? Yes or no for eligibility. But if I were to go back here. Oops. Let me just pull the address. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. So if I enter the address here for a place that is not in Illinois, 6601. Disclaimer updated. Let's see here. Then we can see. So yeah, the address was, excuse me, outside of Illinois. In the program recommendation review in this column, we see that they are not eligible for participation in the CEJA program. So just wanted to note that as some updates that went out on this past Thursday evening. See, and with that, I think I'll go ahead and open it up to questions if anyone has any. Feel free to unmute or add them into the chat. Let's see. I see a question. What about people outside the R3 area but live in Lake County? If they were outside R3 or lived in Lake County, I know they'd be eligible if they lived in an environment justice community. Um, and I think even if they were not in either, I'd almost have to check the address just to double check that if they were not in an EJC or an R3, but they're still in Illinois, that, based on the other criteria, if they matched, some of those, and I know there's some difference between, some of these programs, and they could still potentially be eligible for the program. Yep, I see a thumbs up from Diana. Thanks, Diana, for just confirming that.
So
Good
in this
question.
case, you're getting all those X's on eligible because they've got customer resides in Illinois as no.
Correct. Yep. Yep. Got that line right here.
And I think it's worth mentioning to keep in mind the differences among the programs because the Workforce Hubs has priority requirements for those eligibility criteria.
Julie, so you got your hand raised.
I just want to ask a qualifying question regarding that. My understanding is that if they don't check mark any of the like living in one of the districts or felony energy worker foster, that if they have financial need, they can qualify anyway, but there's no way to actually qualify that anywhere in this documentation. Is that correct, that they can qualify anyway?
No, they would need to demonstrate how a financial need is a barrier to employment.
Okay, and so if they can demonstrate that, how would we indicate that in the documentation here?
I think it would be that, do you have other barriers to employment?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the most broad category.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to check because I've been told that financial need is a qualifier or poverty level isn't a qualifier. And so I wanted to clarify that.
It's again, the priority for the workforce hubs needs to be considered. So top priority are R3 environmental justice
Right.
communities, and then it goes down from there. So if you
Okay.
couldn't
But if we
fill
still
the
have
others,
seats left, then we could still put them in there. If once we've met the priority people, if we still had room, we could add them in.
yeah, if they
Okay.
had just a
Okay.
simple barrier to employment being that they're low income.
Yeah. Kind of a tricky question there, but yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I see a couple things added in the chat. When we add them in, even with barriers, when they live outside the R3 area, they come up ineligible for us. If you could send me an email or a help request with, I think maybe a help request with, some of those addresses, we can take a closer look. It might just be that, something's being overlooked, or, we can just take a deeper dive into it and make sure, the system's operating the way it should. And then I see another question. Would it be possible to add an export option for the partner section and the engagement section as well? And we'll be going over that in the second half of the system, but that's just referring to over here. We have outreach and we got our export for partners. I'm just taking a look here to make sure what all information we're collecting here. I think that's something, yeah, that we could certainly do and take a look at. It may take some time based on, kind of current uh, project and update priority, but I think that's, certainly something that would be easy enough for our programmers to put together. any other questions or things you'd like for us to go over the next about 15 minutes or so before we cover the partner engagement management tab? Well, if not, before we go over this, I'll give the regional administrators and Diana an opportunity if there's anything they'd like to share for the group.
Not for me, thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and provide a demo then. Excuse me. I know some of the grantees and navigators have, are familiar with partner engagement management tab, but if they're not, if anyone's not, we'll go over this here. So in the, whether you're Workforce Hub or Climate Works grantee or navigator, you'll have access to this partner engagement management tab. And so if we click this, it'll land on the partner page. And this is where we can add partner agencies or groups that we've partnered with. And so, for example, we'll add. We can click to add. We'll enter our name here. Example. And then after we've entered the name, we have type, and we have several different options here: apprenticeship, business association, community-based organization, community college, employer, government organization, high school, industry association, private for-profit training, public university or college, union, vocational technical school, or other. And there's one in particular, I think it is, that has additional questions that populate here. Okay, so if it's employer, if employer is selected as a partner, we do have 3 questions right here that populate. So we have the first one is a drop down for number of employers. You can make that, or sorry, number of employees. We can make that selection there. If they're clean energy industry, we can check the applicable boxes here. And then are you an equitable eligible contractor, EEC, yes or no? And just make sure. Okay, yeah, that was all that for employer, but all the other ones will have all the other selections for partner type will have the following questions. So apprenticeship sponsor, yes or no. You can enter the address information here. And then under provider, this is, so I'm logged in as a Climate Works grantee, and this is my sub grantee here. So we'll select the provider. And then we have memorandum of understanding, MOU status. And we have in process, not applicable, and complete. And if we select complete, then we can provide a description and upload that MOU there. Click to add the partner. Let's see here. Or if an update is going out. I think that might be why this isn't responding here. Let me open up a new tab. Take a moment to load here. Okay, our test is just being slow right now. So we got the partner added. Let's see here. Okay, because I clicked it twice and it was taking a moment. It got added in here twice, but we can see that the partner has been added to our partner tab here. And if we click the name, we'll see the form we were just on. And if we need to update any of this information, we can make those changes and click to update that. And then over on the engagement tab, we can add an engagement. And so, by that we mean, so if we can click add engagement here, and in this partner dropdown, we'll see, the partners that we just added. So we can select add partner. And then for type of engagement, we have outreach, recruitment support, job site training, work-based learning, other instructions, transition services, student support services, wraparound support services, and other. And so you can select the appropriate type of engagement and the date that was made. Click add. And when we add that engagement, we can come back here and select the partner name. And from here, we can add contact notes. So you'll kind of just providing a little more detail on, what was, covered in that engagement. So we'd have the subject line for engagement, and then we can enter in those details here. More details there. So we can click to add contact notes, and then we can see that note has been added there. And we can add, additional notes as well. So you can click save. And then if you wanted to, so, we have a lot of, or, a handful of engagements on this tab listed below. But if we go to the contact notes tab, what that'll do is it will kind of provide a different view of all the contact notes that have been added to the different partners on the engagement tab. So we can see, here's our grantee organization, here's our partner, and here's the contact notes that we just left for, that engagement. And then the last tab that I want to go over is the outreach tab. So on here, we can click to add outreach events. We can also export them. So if we click to add an event, at the top here, we have the different outreach types that are selectable. We have some definitions here. So we have community partnership event meeting, regional or state workforce board events, in-house event, virtual event, inquiry contact, and cold calls. So we have our definitions right there. And so to enter this in, we'll select grantee, we'll select community partnership, outreach name. Maybe we had a in-house event. And for audience type, we can select if it was for business or kind of driven for individuals. And then outreach type, this is where we'd select, based on one of those above. So in this case, we'll select in-house event. We can select the date of the event. Maybe it was this past Friday, and the number of attendees who were at the event. So we can click save here. And it was this one here at the bottom. So we can see that it's been added into our outreach event table here. And if we click to see notes, we can, make updates as needed to any drop downs, the event name, number of attendees, and we can add follow-up notes too. And so at the top here, we'll just select the type. I think in this case, it would probably be likely general, but then we can enter the date of contact, subject line, and then a comment here. And we'll click save, and we'll see that the note's been added into this table here. And then lastly, we can export it. So if we click the button to export, it will download a file here. And here. Open this up. And then we can see the name of the event, the date, if it was, if applicable, the navigator, the grantee, audience, outreach type, number of attendees, and if it has notes. So that's how the export works. I do see some hands raised and some questions in the chat. So I'm not sure what happened first. So we'll go ahead with Heidi. So you got your hand raised.
Good morning. I just have a couple questions. First of all, when it comes to employer engagement, um, where if we're just doing an engagement activity for getting information, um, where do we put that activity specifically? And I see that you said that an employer becomes a partner once an MOU or other agreement is executed. That does not pertain to us as the navigator, am I correct?
Well, for the first question, I think as far as kind of reaching out and that first engagement, initially, yeah, you would add them as a partner into the system, and this is listing their name, their type, information there. And, the MOU may not be applicable there, but then I think for kind of the nature and context of that initial meeting and discussion could be added as an engagement on this tab here. And I'm sorry, what was your second question? Was that about the MOU?
Yes.
Yeah, as it relates to navigators, I'm not.
Hey, David, if you mind,
Yeah.
this is Larry. I'll clarify a bit. As far as employer partners, really the MOU should be struck with the hubs and or ClimateWorks, the entities that are primarily responsible for the transition work and the connecting of the completers or the participants with employment. As far as navigators are concerned, we do continue to encourage you to work with employers for the primary reason of kind of connecting them with the hubs and ClimateWorks, as opposed to kind of going out and striking agreements with them for yourselves, because they're the primary benefit of those employers really is to hopefully get them to agree to hire, specific numbers of people. And that is really, I think, the work of the hub and the ClimateWorks.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. So, but um, for navigator purposes, we should still be using um, the reporting tool to record those outreach efforts.
This is Larry. I think so. I mean, my colleagues can pipe up if they have a different thought. But since we do encourage navigators to engage with employers, we should be able to have it recorded somewhere. And so I would consider that to be outreach.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree that activities to recruit participants or employers, I think will go under outreach. And then I think, to that kind of full ecosystem, or to that, broader ecosystem look, right, is like you're recruiting those employers for your workforce program partners. And then those workforce programs, like Larry indicated, would then be tasked with kind of bringing those employers on as partners. Once they're added as partners, then the interactions with them become engagements.
Okay, so just to clarify, so if we have an outreach activity with a potential employer partner, we still put them in the partner tab in the reporting tool under outreach.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because once you
And-
add them under partners, then they become available to add under engagement. Yeah.
Okay, and then one more question. When it comes to outreach and engagement activities as the navigator, we report that in our monthly report, but should we also be putting those activities in the reporting tool as well?
We'll have to get back to you on that one. We're gonna have to figure out how to set this up so that you can capture or a definition of engagements that are gonna work with the Navigator program.
Okay, and then one more question. So we have not been putting employer contact in the outreach tool. Do we need to go in and backfill, or should we just start going forward? What do you suggest?
Well, in order for it to be captured by the monthly report, I'm afraid we're gonna have to get them in there somehow.
Okay. Okay, so that's not a problem. We just want to
Okay.
be clear on what we need to do.
Yeah, and we're gonna, like I said, we're gonna have to figure out a way so that your monthly report is gonna populate with those employer touches. So let us figure that out.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Let's see. Next hand I see raised is Joy.
Hi, David. I just
Joy.
have a really quick follow-up question. A couple weeks ago, we had put our training programs in under that provider information tab, and I see that it's still been in a pending status and had not been approved yet. Is there anything that we're missing to get it approved, or?
I don't think so. I think we'll just need to follow up with the regional manager, or sorry, regional administrator, so we can get that reviewed and approved.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a function. This is a function that's still being built, and so we're trying to. The regional administrators are trying to understand how much we can approve right now versus what still needs to be built. That so we're trying to figure out can we just approve knowing that there's a bunch of information in there that's not relevant or not part of the program while we build out the rest of it, or do we need to hold off on that? So we're kind of actively trying to figure that out right now.
Yeah, thanks, Nate. And I was looking at them actually this week. We have a meeting with David and Natasha tomorrow, so I do have questions. Hopefully, I will be able to get mine approved by the end of the week after I get my questions clarified.
Thanks, Michelle. Let's see. Annette, I see your hand was also raised.
Hey, David. Quick question. Is
Yeah.
there a way to erase a partner from that partner tab?
There's not. If we really needed to, we could have a programmer remove it. But yeah, at least as far as kind of the user and even as super admins in the system, we can't remove that. And I guess we'd also want, kind of in discussion with the regional administrators, kind of know a little bit more, the reasoning behind why we would, why we would remove a partner if it was, a duplicate or.
Well, I don't know. Like, I'm looking at a screen here, and there's some partners on here that should have been under these are the referrals that I put in. I don't know why they're even here. So yeah, that's why I was asking.
Oh, that might be, yeah, let me get back to you on that. That might be a separate issue. Yeah,
Okay,
I'll have to take a closer look at that, and I can follow up with you.
okay, no problem. Thanks.
Mhm. See, Trisha, I see you got your hand raised.
Yes. I'm with the Navigator team, and one of my team members just asked about going back and backfilling. Is there an import feature? Because we have a volume that I think would have to be input. Seemed to me it'd be more efficient if we could import as opposed to doing each entry by hand. So I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to import information.
We don't have that set up currently. Yeah, it would have to be manual entry. That's something we could take a look at, but based on programming priorities, I'm not sure kind of where, could really provide a.
And depending on the volume, we might be able to have Macy be able to assist with that.
That, yes, that's also true. Yeah, we could also loop in one of our customer service reps to help enter some of that in.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Don't see any other hands raised. I'm just going to take a look at the chat, see if there's any questions we don't have answered. It looked like, Larry, you had added, answered some of those questions and addressed that earlier. No, Brianna, I see you got your hand raised.
Hi, you're able to hear me?
Yep, sure can.
Awesome, awesome. Nice to meet you. I am the new navigator for Youth Build, and I'm still trying to. I've played with the tester site before I got my official login, and with my official login, things are starting to click more for me. But a question that I have is, it's not with anything related to adding partners, as I have not gotten there yet. This question is more so for adding customers. So in the process of adding customers, I will add a customer, but there's a question that throws me off, and it's not necessarily in the first part where you add basic information and you hit submit. It's going to come after the second part. There's a question that asks about, and I don't know if this has been answered before. I can't remember. ADHD brain. There's a question that asks about pre-screening requirements, and there's no other option. You have to only click that option. And with that option being clicked, it shows that pretty much it shows my customers as being like they don't need any kind of follow-up and they're not eligible, which is not true. So I'm confused. I don't know if that's supposed to happen or if anyone has ever reported it before, but it is an issue for me.
Yeah, let me pull this up here. Can
you actually like take me through the steps of how you got here again? Because this is another issue I'm having. I'm not sure how to get to this specific page where you can see the customer's progress.
Yeah, and let me actually log in with a Navigator account. I think that might be a little more helpful because there is a slightly different view here. So, okay, so yeah, if we're adding, and maybe we could just, kind of do that for kind of walking through here. So we'll enter in our customer information here. So, okay, so we'll select Navigator here and then get to the pre-screening window. So you were referring to, I believe, let's see.
It'll be towards the bottom.
Yeah. Okay, so we got our pre-screening results, but then is it this question here that's highlighted?
Yes.
Okay, so we will select, the program that we're adding, the customer ad, let's say, maybe Climate Works. And then once we select, from this drop down, if they're interested, so we can see, based on what we entered above, they're eligible.
Mhm.
And if they'd like to move forward, we can select, interested in participating, or, if they weren't, we can select not interested in participating.
Now,
And yeah,
I'm sorry. I said youth, but I'm sorry. I meant the YWCA. We don't have a workforce hub, so um, my my supervisor has typically selected refer to navigator. Is that affecting the options that I get for pre-screening? Because I don't. All I get is, yeah, that's all I see.
um,
And I think there was only one person that was not eligible, and that's because of their address. Everyone else that I've met, they're eligible.
Michelle,
So I
is this
think,
one of the, or sorry, go ahead, Nate.
well, I was gonna say, I think that refer to navigator is for workforce programs to send somebody back to a navigator. So I don't think we want the navigators using that.
Okay,
Um,
gotcha.
because I think y'all would be primarily looking at Climate Works and other, obviously other non-workforce hub programs,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, because we don't
Yeah.
have one yet.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, and then if we fill in, so yeah, we select Climate Works, interested in participating, we'll select, Climate Works provider here.
Mhm.
And enter the pre-screening date and click submit. And then we'll just verify the email address here. See that they got added. And one issue that I noticed last week is, for navigators, I think we do want to, under, Climate Works, previously when we added the customer, we saw the button to, continue to application. Not sure why that isn't showing for navigators here, but we can still access, we're going to work on updating that, but we can still access this customer. If we go back to our customer list here, search. We'll see, in this case, Michael. We have, the navigator and the provider that we selected here. And so, with this, connection established, you would be able to see this customer record as the navigator, and this Climate Works provider would also be able to, they would both see, Michael in their, customer lists here. But when we select the customer name,
Mhm.
we get taken to the progress page, and just refreshing this status here so we can see. There we go. But then if we go to the intake page, then we can, this first one, we can see the pre-screening information. And then if we click this button, that'll take us to the application that we can then fill out for that customer.
Mhm. Okay. I think my error lies in the program that I was selecting for them. So I'll go back through each of my customers, and hopefully that'll kind of troubleshoot the issue that I was having with getting to this page and the pre-screening results.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Excellent.
thank you so much.
Yeah. And actually, while we're logged in as a navigator and over here, I do want to note there was, a request under, participant summary tools. For some reason, the navigators, don't have, the link to view, uploaded files to, for the customers, record in the system. So that's something we have in the current round of updates that we'll have available, by the end of next week, that the navigators will be able to, view and upload files to the customer's record.
Sorry, one more question that I had written down.
Yeah.
When it comes to the files or the documents that we'll be uploading, are we uploading any kind of protected information as far as IDs, social security cards, anything like that, or what kind of information will that look like?
I think we're still talking about that with the regional administrators, but I do know that social security cards are not something we're going to want to have uploaded in the system. And I don't know if there's been, if the regional administrators would like to, add anything to that, but I know we've been talking about that lately as far as, what all we want the navigators and grantees to upload.
Yeah, we're still working on that one. And then Brianna, I'm sorry, could you repeat what was happening when you were selecting refer to navigator with your students? Was it not letting you move forward in the system with those?
Yeah, if I click refer to navigator, because I just assumed that was like the procedure for me, it would show that they do not meet the requirements, and basically they're not eligible. They don't meet the requirements.
And you couldn't then enter them as like an inquiry candidate or whatever?
Yeah, and it doesn't take me to the intake progress page setup as well.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I think when they remain in inquiry there.
And David, I thought the Refer to Navigator was a placeholder for navigators that did not have a hub or Climate Works program.
I think it was, yeah, Michelle, I think you're right. I think it's twofold. I think that tied into it for, I apologize for drawing a blank on which navigator that was, but also, and let me see if I can do this over here. We also have that for customer transfers, if we needed to, change the navigator,
And
then we could, make that selection
and the reason I say that is that I have a navigator that does not have any hub programs at this time, so they can't move forward because they don't have any programs to talk about. They don't have any programs to pre-screen anyone for. So I thought that's why you created that Refer to Navigator as a placeholder while we're waiting to get a hub.
Yeah, it can, certainly act as, the placeholder for, the navigators in those situations.
So then how would a Climate Works pick them up then? If we did it that way?
So Nate, in our case, Nate, we don't have Climate Works either.
Right, but what about in this case though?
Yeah, okay.
So Nate, was your question if a Climate Works grantee is, and let me just log in. So
yeah, I'm just trying to understand what we should have Brianna do there. If it sounds like maybe refer to navigator is what, or I'm not clear.
Wouldn't she refer them to Climate Works?
sorry about that.
Yeah, well, I think so. I think that's where we landed on that one.
So just to confirm, do not do refer to navigator, do Climate Works.
I think so, but I guess is the question, if they were truly interested in the hubs, then do we park them there and refer to navigator so they can be evaluated later?
That's what my navigator is doing.
And then will the hub have access to that list to be able to do that at a later date?
So it's my understanding once we have a hub and the navigator understands what the programs are that are being offered, they will go back into the system and finish the pre-screening with their candidates.
And is it set up to where they can find them in their dashboard or something like that?
I believe so, because of that referred to navigator option. That's my understanding of how it works. Because now they'll be able to go back through their list of people that all they've done is generally talk about the programs that are probably coming, because we don't know the exact program yet. that's going to be offered in our hub. We have an idea. We know it's probably solar energy efficiency. We know it's not wind because in Southern Illinois, we know we're not going to have that. So once that hub's identified and they can understand what the training programs are, when the classes are going to be held and all that, they'll be able to go and pre-screen those candidates and refer them to the hub.
And Brianna, were you saying that you were not able to, when you put them in that way with refer to navigator, you said, are you not able to hit that submit button, or what was the?
The hiccup was after it shows do not meet pre-screening requirements. At the bottom, once you close out of this screen, in the, I think it's the status field, it's one of the fields, it shows them as not meeting the requirements, and pretty much I think it also showed they're not eligible. Let me pull it up so I can word it exactly for you. That was my issue because they were eligible. It's just we don't have a hub. We don't really have that network yet to truly partner them, even though we have partners. It's not a hub or workforce yet. So there's I guess there's no specific place to put them. So it would be, it was a word that someone used earlier, like non-workforce hub. Where am I going with this? Just lost my train of thought. 1 second.
No, I was gonna say, it looks like when you do select that and save it, that then, yeah, their customer status shows as inquiry, not eligible, not interested.
Yeah. Yep.
So then the flag here would be all the people tagged with not eligible, not interested, who are also referred to navigator. Those are the ones that the navigator needs to know to come back to at a later date and reevaluate. Is that kind of what we're saying?
Yeah, and we'll be able to see, which customers those are. So we have, customers, with inquiry status, or, if they've been added and it's been, more than 30 days and pre-screening's not been completed, they'll show up there. But even in this case, more specifically, pre-screening results indicate not eligible or not interested. We'd have that list here. So we should see, yeah, the customer we just added here, Joe.
And so all of those other ones are actually, they're just not interested or not eligible. It's those CEJA refer to navigator ones are the ones we need to pull back out to reanalyze.
Right.
At a later date. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess for ClimateWorks, refer to ClimateWorks. If they're hub, refer to navigator.
Any more questions? Got about 10 minutes left or so. Or anything you'd like for us to go over in the last few minutes here? All right. Well, if not, we'll go ahead and end the call here and the recording. A lot of good questions today, so thank you. But like I said, we'll get this recording posted to the partner guide shortly. And if anything comes up, please feel free to send us an email or help request ticket, and we'll work with you to get everything resolved. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you.